I broke these football matches down step by step and put together a strong parlay, selecting the most reliable options. We are also going to build a crazy parlay with juicy odds close to 9.1 from 2 events, so make sure to watch till the end. Alright, let's not waste a second. Let's get into it. Event 1. Champions League Classic. Real Madrid vs Bayern Munich, and here I found a very interesting angle, because at first glance everyone expects a cautious game. But if you dig deeper, a completely different scenario appears. Open football, chances and goals from both sides. I'll start with Real because a lot depends on them here. And despite the loss to Mallorca 1-2, I'm not making a big deal out of it, because this team has had the same pattern for years. They can lose to anyone, but when the Champions League comes, especially knockout stages, they switch into a completely different mode. The example against Manchester City is the perfect illustration. Logic doesn't always exist, but results do. And that's the key point you can't ignore. It's also important to understand that even with squad issues, Real at home are still a machine. 9 of their last 10 games at the Bernabeu had at least 2 goals. That's not just stats. It reflects their style, where they play aggressively, feed off the crowd and constantly push forward. Plus you've got Vinicius, who carried the team when needed, and now Mbappe adds even more firepower. Yes, there are balance questions, but the attacking depth is only stronger. Against Bayern, who play high and leave space, this is the perfect setup, because Real don't need to break down a low block. Space will be there and they will use it. Yes, the absence of Courtois is a downside, and defensively they are not perfect, but that actually increases the chances of an open game, because Real will play through attack instead of trying to control and slow things down. Buddy, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post match analysis every day and always try to keep my audience in profit. I also appreciate fair criticism and your well-argued picks in the comments. I read everything. Thanks for the support, let's keep going. Now let's talk about Bayern, because they are just as serious here. Right now they are one of the most dangerous teams in Europe, not just winning but destroying opponents. And we've seen that in games like Atalanta 6-1 and 4-1, where the opponent had no chance. What's important is that they can do this even without Kane, which shows the depth of the squad and a well-built system where everyone understands their role. Bayern play with high pressing, constantly attack, but with space behind, and that's the key. Against Real it works both ways. They'll create a lot of chances, but they'll also give Real opportunities to hit on the counter. If you look at the numbers, Bayern games in the Champions League average around 4.2 goals. Real's around 3.6. That already hints at a game that won't be close, and motivation into the mix. Bayern really want to break this psychological barrier against Real, and that matters. They won't sit back even away from home. It's just not their style. So the picture is clear. A back and forth game, Real will create at home, Bayern will respond, and 3 or 4 goals look very realistic. My main pick here is Real Madrid over 1 goal in the parlay. With more risk I'm taking over 3 total goals. And for the crazy parlay I'm going with Real over 2 goals at odds of 3.26. Because in this kind of game 2 goals from the host is a very solid expectation. Guys, here's my Telegram and my stats. I work as transparently and honestly as possible. I even pay taxes as an individual entrepreneur. I am one of the few in this space who actually works openly and fairly. The link is in the description below. Event 2. Sporting vs Arsenal. And here I found another very interesting angle, because at first glance it feels like the quality of the away side should decide it. But if you dig deeper, you see a scenario where the hosts are not going to be spectators and can impose a very intense and high-scoring game. I'll start with Sporting, because a lot of depends on them. The team is in a great form right now, 13 goals in their last 3 matches, and that's not just numbers, it's confidence and momentum. What's important is not only how much they score, but how they play. This is a team with character, one that doesn't break even after setbacks. Like against Bode Glimt, where they lost 0-3 first and then came back to win 5-0. At home they look extremely strong. A long unbeaten run, and most importantly they consistently score. 23 consecutive home matches without failing to score. That's huge, because even against Arsenal they will not sit back. They are used to playing on the front foot and controlling possession. And that can work both ways. They'll create chances but also leave space that Arsenal can exploit. Sporting's attack is in form right now, and even against stronger opposition, they almost always find their moments. Now let's look to Arsenal. And things are not as straightforward as they seem. Yes, on paper it's a top team, but current form raises questions. Recent results are worrying. A loss to Manchester City 0-2, elimination by Southampton 1-2, plus a lot of injuries. The squad depth is affected, and that impacts consistency. Another key point: their main priority right now is the Premier League, and that could affect their approach, especially away from home, where they already tend to allow more. But at the same time, Arsenal are very dangerous in open space, and if Sporting push forward, the English side will get perfect conditions for their fast attacks. And then it comes down to quality in finish. Even with issues, they score consistently. Goals in 24 of their last 26 away matches, which is a very strong step. Often they score at least 2, and against a team that doesn't sit deep, that looks logical again. At the same time, Arsenal's defense isn't reliable right now. Goals conceded in back-to-back matches, which increases the chances of Sporting scoring as well. So the overall picture is clear. Both teams are attack-oriented, both score regularly, both are not perfect defensively, and most importantly, stylistically this game can be close, because neither side will play passively. That leads to a game with chances on both sides, where at least 2 goals look like the best play. My main pick is over 2 total goals in the parlay. With more risk, I'll take Sporting over 1 goal as a single. And for the crazy parlay, I'm going with 1-2 plus BTTS yes at odds of 2.8. Hope you enjoyed this detailed breakdown and dropped a like on the video.